In itself, their approach could not be considered a cause for concern. They might be coming to help welcome the cows, or to invite themselves to supper, or to commit some lesser intrusion. What roused in Kitty no small suspicion that something more complicated might be involved was the presence, in the bed of the truck, of a pig. A pig all too familiar and not at all welcome. Its snout was raised to take in the castle air, its cloven hooves apparently firmly planted in the bed of the truck to counter the bounce and rattle over the uneven road. For the first time since Kitty had bought Castle Kisane, she wished it didn't lack the full complement of a moat and the attendant drawbridge, to say nothing of a portcullis that could be lowered in situations such as the arrival of this particular pig. The castle, to be sure, was not without its charms. It could claim a courtyard in which dogs might take the afternoon sun, should there be a sun. There were stables and sheds and arcades from which the healthy stench of manure could find its way into the great hall, where matters of state and strategies of defense had once been argued into incomprehension. At the top of its turret, reachable by a winding stone staircase at the end of a passageway that led past the conjugal bedroom, one could pace in the open air and participate in the life of the Kerry countryside. One could see the snow-dusted summits of McGillicuddy's Reeks. One could count cows and sheep and search the horizon of the western sea for ships of friendly or unfriendly intent. One could smell the salt air, even at this distance, or the fragrant scent of gorse and heather, hawthorn and honeysuckle. But truth be told, the castle wasn't all that much. With its 2-story crude stone bulk and its 4-story turret, it resembled nothing so much as the architectural progenitor of a design that would find its ultimate statement on the Central Plains of America, the barn and silo, except that this mighty archetype was built for the ages. And, most to be regretted at the moment, it contained no keep into which Kitty could now withdraw, as had the populace of old, to escape unwanted encroachments. Now, in the bed of the approaching truck, an unwanted intrusion was looking for all the world as if it had just won first prize at the fair and was being given a royal progress throughout the county, accepting with easy indifference the obeisance of those privileged enough to line its path. So that it wouldn't seem that Kitty had been simply standing there as if waiting to welcome an unwelcome pig, and to let her nephew and his bride know that they were interrupting her at a task of some import, she gave a quick wave and, as best she could, tried to make it appear that she had been, before their arrival, on the way to the farthest of the courtyard sheds. There, in a great heap, was the refuse left behind by the previous tenants of the castle, who happened to be squatters. The stained mattresses, the broken lamps, the computer parts either obsolete or damaged in moments of exasperation, a broken guitar, shoes, boots, and sandals, most without mates, college texts, one in economics, tattered paperbacks, 2 of them Kitty's inimitable triumphs, magazines, and more than several works written in Irish, not only Peig Sayers, the bane of everyone's schooling, whose Irish writings were force-fed down their gagging throats, but also Sean O'Connell and Thomas O'Creompton, and, crowning the pile, a television set with what appeared to be a kicked-in screen. When the truck pulled to a stop, Kitty's nephew, Aaron, got out of its cab. He was wearing khaki pants, a red sweatshirt emblazoned with the word Wisconsin, and a pair of muddy sneakers. Lolly dismounted from the passenger side. She was wearing a pair of oversized woolen pants, so large indeed that they could easily have belonged to some former lover who had left them behind on one of his more than several visits to the all-too-accommodating Lolly in the days, and nights, gone by. Not infrequently did Lolly affect this attire. At times, Kitty considered it a permissibly mocking statement relative to her chosen profession of swineherd. A womanly pig person could surely be allowed to doff her fitted jeans and designer boots and don the obvious cast-offs more appropriate to the disgusting chores her calling required. In less charitable moments, of which there were a considerable number, Kitty convinced herself